Hey everyone, it's Jen B, and welcome to my studio. In today's video, I am going to be fixing up this stunning turquoise ring. So if you'd like to see how I do that, just keep watching and let's get to work. This ring was sent to me by Jody at Jody's Jewels, and it's a beautiful ring, but it does need a little bit of work. You can see that the ring shank is kind of mangled. It has become unsoldered right there, and the arms of the ring shank definitely have some issues. It has also become unsoldered right here in the middle, right there. So this ring really needs to be fixed up. I am actually going to be replacing the ring shank completely because, in my opinion, the arms of the ring shank are just a little too thin. In fact, the whole shank, I think, is just a little too thin for this size of a ring. And so I'm going to be building a split ring shank that is a little bit thicker. So the first thing I'm going to do is get set up to remove these stones, and then we'll remove the ring shank, solder this part back together, and build a new ring shank. So I'll be right back to remove these stones. I've got the ring set up in the vise and stabilized the best I could with some little things. This one is very wobbly because this is the part of the ring shank that is not soldered down. So it might be a little bit of a challenge to get these stones out, but I am going to take my time and just very gently start to pry this bezel away from the turquoise. I've got the first stone out.
Are you recording?
I am. And now I'll work on the second stone.
We are now arriving at the big Mama recording area. I'll just get a video of me opening the door.
Sure. You'll want to do it right around here is where the camera is pointed.
What?
Bring the bus right around my hand. Now, there you go. Awesome.
Can I see the video?
When I'm done with this, okay? Okay, this one had some sawdust underneath it. So I'm gonna grab a little thing to put that sawdust in and save it for later. All right, I'm gonna put the sawdust in there. These are just the little things that go inside the ring to help stabilize it inside the ball vise. Okay, so I've got the stones removed. We are going to work on getting the shank unsoldered, and then I will get these two soldered back. Okay, I've got the ring set up. I'm going to get this flexed up and the solder to flow and then pull that ring shank away. I've just got it set up on a small piece of honeycomb soldering board with some T-pins supporting the base of the ring. I'll get my flame on and adjusted and start to warm this up. I think it may be just about time to replace my propane. I did not clean the ring, and the old patina is going to be burning off. Please do not burn off old patina unless you have a good ventilation system. I have a fume extractor, so I feel pretty confident that burning off patina is going to be fine for me. Okay, so I'm just going to heat everything up to the temperature where it's going to flow. We got one side down. And I'm going to try to just get this stabilized again. Hopefully I'm still on camera. I'm looking for that solder to flow, and it just pulls right off. Okay, so I'm going to put these pieces in the pickle to get them nice and clean, and then we'll work on cleaning up the back and re-soldering them right there. And then I will work on creating the ring shank. I have got the pieces set up on a flat soldering board, and I've got them joined where they originally went together. I'm going to see if I can get it soldered without doing any major surgery to this area, like reshaping it. I am going to use a nice generous piece of solder. Okay, I am just grabbing my flux bowl and getting a piece of solder. And I want to put it right across that joint. I'm going to get my pick handy in case I need to spread it at all. I'm just warming up everything with my torch. We don't have an extremely hot flame. I'm watching the color of the metal, or rather the color of the flux. And okay, that solder is just about ready to flow. It is flowing. I take my flame and just try to pull the solder down a little bit. Yes, sweetie? Okay, I can see that the solder got pulled through to the front, which is great. You can see the solder blob right there. I will clean that up a little bit so it's a little smooth. I'm not going to remove all of it probably because I want that area to be reinforced with the solder, but there is excess solder on the piece from where the ring shank was. So I'm going to clean all that up and then just smooth that out a little bit. But it is joined back together. Can you see that? And so we will be building the ring shank. What? Okay, I just took this piece out of the pickle. It's looking nice and clean. I am going to spend some time on the jewel tool removing the excess solder from the original shank. Clean up that solder right there that I just added, and then we'll start creating the ring shank. I am going to be using a vacuum with the jewel tool, so you don't have to listen to that. I'll probably insert a little bit of music. I'm about to start working on the ring shank, and this is the original ring shank. And like I had said, I just felt that these arms on the ring shank were just a little too thin to support the heft of this ring. So what I'm going to do is use a wire that is a similar gauge, but actually double it so that each arm is the full width of the wire, if that makes sense, because these arms were cut and split, and I think that is why the ring got a little mangled, just from the stress of wearing a ring. So I think having a ring shank that is a little bit thicker will work better for this ring, but I also don't want it to be too thick because it is kind of a delicate looking ring, and so I don't want the shank to overwhelm it. But I think by using 10 gauge half round wire, it will accomplish both goals of still looking kind of dainty and feminine, but also having strength to support the back plate. What I'm going to do is take this over to the soldering area and solder these two pieces together. Then I will complete the ring shank by filing the ends flat and sawing in between up until I need to, which I'll go over that once we get to that stage. But that is just the next couple steps, is soldering and preparing this ring shank to be split. So let's go over to the soldering area. I have made sure that these two wires, again, these are 10 gauge half round wire, and I have made sure that they are touching and parallel to each other so that we can get them soldered together. So what I'm going to do is heat everything up and then apply two little pieces of solder right in the center, and the solder should flow and just join everything together. That's the plan. Of course, things don't always go to plan, but that's what the plan is. Okay, since the pieces in the pickle right now, or the ring shank wires are in the pickle right now, and since this ring shank was already made for me, I'm going to use it to my advantage. I want to know basically how far down to cut my wire to spread the arms of the shank. So I'm actually going to use this old ring shank to figure out how much I need to saw. So to do that, I am just going to straighten this out some. Straighten out the curve. And I am going to open up my calipers to the distance of that arm. Let's see if that was good. Yeah, a little bit more. Come from this side so I can really see where just a smidge more. That may have been too much of a spin. Oh, tighten it just a little. Okay, so there we go. This is how much I need to open up on each side of the ring shank. Okay, I have got this cleaned up and the ends nice and flat. I've also put a little bit of a paint marker. This is called a Dykem marker. It just helps make a nice clear guideline. And I'm going to use my caliper, I'm going to use my dividers where I had set them to score a line. And that just shows me where I need to saw and split the wires. Yeah. So I'm sawing some blades in line with the marks I made.
Can I use your hot air balloon?
The plastic one?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to have to deflate it and cut it open. That's what we're going to have to do for my craft.
That's fine. You can do that for your craft.
Okay.
I think the way that I'm going to handle this now is use my ring bender to go ahead and bend this into a ring shape and then split the arms to the distance that they need to be split for this ring. Okay, I will be right back once I've got that done. All right, so this ring needs to be a size 8. It's right about there. And I'm going to start to open these up a little bit. Oh no, they came apart. Oh, that is a bummer. Okay, I am working at shaping this ring. They need something with a little bit better grip on it. There we go. I don't know exactly where these arms need to be just yet, but I am just working on getting the initial shape close. Let's see if I can put that down here so that you can maybe see it. So what I'm doing is, hopefully you can see, this needs to be a size 8 So I am putting the 8 right in the equator of the ring shank, and then I'm working on bending them to sit correctly. I am gonna look around from all sides and make sure that we've got good contact. I still don't like this one, so I'm just gonna pull that one out just a smidge. Okay, I think that that is looking pretty good. I am going to work on getting this cleaned up, do some scratch removal and refining of the inside where I cut the shank. I've got one ball soldered on, so I am going to solder on the other ball. Then I'm going to sweat solder on some solder on the flat ends so that I can get it soldered to the back plate. So here we go with that ball. Just trying to get it placed right where it needs to go. Okay, that looks pretty good. My head was most definitely in the way. Such is my life, my big head, and my obnoxious hair. You really don't get to see how obnoxious my hair is because I wear it pulled back when I'm soldering and jewelry making for safety. But it is big and obnoxious. Both my head and my hair. All right. Get this solder to flow. Just gonna flip it around. You probably won't be able to see what I'm doing right here. That's okay. There we go. Okay, both balls are soldered on. I'm gonna pickle it one more time just to make sure that these flat ends are perfectly clean so that I can sweat solder on those. Sweat solder. Okay, I am going to once again bury the ring in some pumice, and I have got my solder chips right there. Let me zoom in a little bit. I've got my solder pieces right here on the charcoal block. I'm going to pick solder them onto the ring shank, the tips of the ring shank. Let me heat everything up. Trying to get this done before I have to go pick up my son from school. He's back in school. He's been a little under the weather. We all kind of caught some sort of fall crud. But that is life, especially once Kids get in school and stuff, they bring home all sorts of things. All right, I'm just yapping away here. I pick up this piece of solder, smooshed it. I'm still not proficient at pick soldering. So I'm not talking a whole lot right now. This one does not want to jump over there. It goes. Okay, that one already flowed. Get these other ones to flow as well. Let's see if I can show you that in the camera. So you can see I've got solder on the 4 ends, and then I'll be putting that on top of the back plate. And once everything is up to temperature, that solder is going to flow and connect the two pieces. So I'm going to throw this in the pickle, and then we will get the back plate and the ring shank joined, and then we'll be just about. Good morning, everybody. It is another day, and I am going to do one last thing with this ring before I clean it up and set the stones. And I'm including this to show that sometimes in the process of making something or fixing something, you have to change something. And I am going to be changing something on this ring just to make it a little bit more comfortable to wear. Because when I tried it on last night, I just felt like these balls here on the ring shank, which are on the original ring shank, were just a little too uncomfortable. And I love this design. Both Jody and I thought that these little ball embellishments added a nice touch to the ring shank, but the balls that I used were just a little too big in my opinion. So you can see, hopefully, that there is a difference between the size of the ball that's on the original ring shank and the one that I used. I obviously did one that was a little bit bigger, and I can feel the size of this ball in between my fingers. So I'm going to take these balls off and remove the balls from the original ring shank and put them on to the new ring shank. And I think that will make just everything feel better on the finger. And plus it'll add a nice little touch of having the original balls. I'm listening out for baby Jet. He's got a bone. Okay, got one ball removed. We flip this over and I'm gonna prop that up there in the pumice. Okay, got both of those balls removed. Those balls are ready to be soldered on. So now I need to unsolder these balls. Now, I used medium solder to solder on the balls, and then I used easy solder to solder on the ring shank. What that means is that the easy solder is going to flow before the medium solder. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want to unsolder this ring shank. I just want to unsolder these balls. So I'm going to be painting on a a powder that I mix with water called yellow ochre, and that is going to create a barrier so that the flux, or so that the solder can't flow. If metal is dirty, flux can't flow. And where did my paintbrush go? I literally just had my paintbrush. I had a few sips of coffee and came back to see if I could find my paintbrush, and I can't. It is gone. I don't know where it is. So we're going to improvise, and I'm going to use a little micro swab to apply the yellow ochre. So yellow ochre is just a powder, and I mix it with a little bit of water, create a paste, and then paint it on where I need it. So I'm just getting a little bit of water on the micro swab from my quench bowl and creating like a little paste. Then I am going to paint this all around. I'm not on camera, sorry. I'm going to paint this all around the original So I am just painting this all around, right where those solder seams are on the ring shank. Because again, if metal is dirty, the solder can't flow. So what I'm doing with the yellow ochre is making the metal dirty to help prevent the solder in those areas from flowing, so that I can remove the balls without worrying about the ring shank coming off. In addition to the yellow ochre, I'm going to use a paste flux to help remove these balls. If I were to use a spray flux right now, it's going to make that yellow ochre run, and I don't want to do that. I want the yellow ochre to stay right where I put it. So using a paste flux, I just put it right around the ball so that the solder can flow and I can take it off, but without risking that yellow ochre running. I don't know if that's making any sense. And I heat up that back plate some, just so it's not drawing too much temperature away. Okay, not quite ready yet. Okay, we removed that one. Did I lose one of the balls? Oh no. My goodness. Let's see if I can get just a tiny bit of flux. I'm all shaky now. Do you see that? Okay. Oh my word. You know, some days are just a little hairier. Check the placement of the original balls. Okay, those look good. I'm going to throw this in the pickle. You can see how dirty it is. This is what metal looks like if you don't use like a spray flux. That's the oxidation. The pickle will take care of that. And you can see the yellow ochre is all gross and dirty, and it did a great job of preventing the solder from flowing in those areas. Okay, so we're going to get this in the The ring has been all finished. It's been repaired. It looks beautiful. I soldered it back right here in the middle and then rebuilt the ring shank. Here was the original one. You can definitely see a difference. These arms on the ring shank, on the split ring shank, are really going to support the weight of this ring much better. It looks fabulous on the finger, and I cannot wait to get this back to Jody so she can continue to wear it and love it. Thank you so much for joining me for this repair video. I hope you enjoyed seeing me fix up this ring, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.